Greetings to everyone world over. Green morning, green afternoon, green evening. It's such a pleasure. We are moving ahead from 10th to 27th September. It's a complete packaging, repackaging, thinking, rethinking, and the new innovative strategies which we have to work on to Indian tourism industry. Atithi Devo Bhava, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. And when you talk about the whole India, such a colorful, so much is happening all around our art, our culture, our heritage, our festivities. And of course, today's subject we have got very interesting when we are going to have the deliberations and celebrations of the mice industry. People generally think about what exactly is the mice. We will take on today's distinguished guest, Mr. Jagdeep Bhagatji, who's the founder member and the national coordinator of Network of Indian Mice Agents, and that's a NIMA, Network of Indian Mice Industry and the Mice Agents. That means all the people, those are associated with the conferences, with the convention, with the trade fair, with various kind of events, because meeting, eating, greeting, all that together which goes on in any form where you build a network, you build your business, that is something very, very essential, because we human beings are basically social animals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are LINK. International Chamber for Service Industry is a link between the non-resident Indian corporate houses and the government interface. That means from time to time, we keep giving a lot of policy inputs and focused areas, roadmaps, blueprints, as there's a need for the strategy. Our chamber at present is working on, the vision 2047, the strategy for tourism, education, and skills. All three we are taking together. We are working in that particular direction. So 32 million Indian diaspora abroad. We are proud of you. You all are doing wonderful wherever you are. Dekho Apna Desh. The agenda which was given by Honorable Prime Minister of India, that each one of us, we should travel at least 15 places in India. Go and see it for yourself. And a little while before, I was talking with today's distinguished guest, and we were talking about Northeast, beautiful part of country, 8 beautiful treasures, 8 beautiful, serene, green, and clean, and the neat and the beautiful, where you have got a lot of herbal, you have got eco, you have got such a beautiful plantation. And having been associated over there, of course, we started this particular series of the feast. That's a forum of educators and skill providers for tourism on 10th of September. We are coming a long way and we'll go till 27th. I'm grateful to my former, DG Tourism, then Secretary Tourism, Government of India, under whose able guidance I learned a lot, Shri B.K. Goswamiji, and I owe a lot, because I was a soldier. I was a novice from the Indian Army. And when I moved on deputation to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and the kind of a support I got from him, and that time when he was DG Tourism, it was Shri S.K. Mishra, who was the Secretary Tourism, Government of India. Such a wonderful, in 2001, Goswami sir gave the vision and idea that why not to bring all the teachers, educators, counselors, scholars, everybody whosoever is directly, indirectly associated with tourism, they all should be on a common stake. And in 2001, our chamber hosted international conference, and we got more than 300 delegates in Chandigarh. I still recall beautiful fragrance of that. Over the period, the time brings lots of change in all of us. What was Forum of Educators and Scholars of Tourism, with the skill ministry coming now, it has become Forum of Educators and Skill Providers for Tourism. So the policy part, research, academic skills, technology, training, and industry, theme is rethinking tourism, and we are having deliberations on different themes every day. We started on 10th of September, Indian tourism post-pandemic. 11th, we had gone to United States. We had Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan, Professor of Marketing, the Lamar University, Texas from the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday at 8 p.m., we bring non-resident Indians on this platform. Thereafter, we had moved to Northeast India, and we talked about agri-tourism, farm tourism, rural tourism. And I'm grateful to Mr. Pandurang B. Thawareji, the president of the Agro-Tourism Development Corporation. Wonderful body, and they're doing extremely, extremely fine. And we traveled with him to Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Assam, Meghalaya, and Sikkim, mentally and emotionally, while talking about agri-tourism and its related activities. Thereafter, we had moved with Ramesh Tekwaniji on 13th of September on film tourism, cinematic tourism, film-induced tourism, and we had lots of wonderful deliberations on that. 14 सितंबर भारत की मातृभाषा यानी कि हिंदी का दिवस, और उस दिन हमने पर्यटन की पूरी बातचीत हिंदी भाषा में की और हमने डिस्कस किया. Then from there we had moved to with Rakesh Mathurji and Captain Swadesh Kumar. We were on ecotourism, sustainable tourism, responsible tourism. And thereafter we had Mr. Ranjan Lahiri, the Assistant Director General from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, who talked about cultural and heritage part with the dance, music, art, handicraft, costume, fair, festivals, monuments, museum, and something which he brought very nicely, the cuisine of India, that also we deliberated. 17th September, we discussed on with Subhash Verma ji, the National Advisor for Indian Association of Travel and Tourism Experts, spiritual and pilgrimage tourism. And ladies and gentlemen, on Sunday morning at 9:30, we took you to Woodbury University, Burbank, California, where the president of our chamber, Professor Satyendra Dhiman, he discussed about spiritual journey, Adhyatmik Yatra. And in the evening at 7 p.m., we talked about global wellness and health tourism through Ayurveda with Dr. Parmeshwar Arora ji. That's on Sunday. And thereafter again, NRIs appeared on the scene. That's yesterday, Sunday, 18th of September. We went to Canada all the way with Mr. Vikas Malhotra, Surya Vijay Shastri Kottamarthi ji, and Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan, tourism post-pandemic and NRIs for Indian education and skills. Tomorrow, we will be taking you to hospitality industry, because tourism, hospitality, and airlines, all three of them, they have suffered heavily. We were the first bird to be shot when the pandemic was declared. And of course, we'll be the last to recover, because people have got their living and family, other kind of concerns as well. So food tourism, culinary, and the government tourism, that we should be talking tomorrow, the deliberation hospitality industry tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. We are also coming out with a book on 27th September on the World Tourism Day, Rethinking Tourism Post-Pandemic. From our chamber, we'll pass on the e-copy to all of you. Something very nicely, Napoleon Hill, he made a mention long time back, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together for tourism. Let's make tourism happening, because tourism is on ground. And ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very warm welcome today on Monday, 19th of September, 2022, when there is a green morning in Canada, United States, and Latin America, and there's a green afternoon in United, that I'm talking about the complete European Union, where you have got all the countries of the European continent together. And of course, it's an early evening and a late evening, depending on whether you are in Southeast Asia, or you are in Central Asia, or you are in Middle East, or you are in beautiful Bharat. So join me in extending a warm welcome to Sri Jagdeep Bhagatji, who is the founder member and the national coordinator of Network of Indian Mice Agent, stands for NIMA. We extend him a very warm welcome. It's a pleasure. At the backdrop, you can see beautiful falls of Chitrakoot. He's taking us to that region also. Is so photogenic that you feel like taking Bollywood, Tollywood, and Bollywood right over there. And why not Hollywood also? Let them also come. This is something very interesting. His own organization, where he's the CMD, that is a VB Tours and Travels, and they're more into incentive travel, And the Forum of the Nima, they had their convention recently from 29th to 31st of July in Jaipur. And next year, your guess and my guess, that is in the month of March 2023, wherever they host, we will have the fragrance and we will join them wherever they would be. With these words, let's extend a very warm welcome, and I hand over the forum to Mr. Jagdeep Bhagatji to discuss about feast, what you call mice industry. Give us the profile of the mice happening in the country, how there is more happening in the mice industry. What are your suggestions? How India can become mice destination further? How we can augment? So canvas is totally yours. You can paint and you can put as many colors as you wish. With these words, hearty welcome to Sri Jagdeep Bhagatji.
Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. It has been very encouraging to see the kind of work your chamber is doing, and particularly the fees, because knowledge, education, that is the key to any foundation which we can build for the future generations, actually. So I think very noble cause you are doing, and as it is into mostly tourism, and I'm very passionate about tourism, I personally feel that we are privileged to have people like you and chambers like you who are dedicated to get the best out of all stakeholders, I'll say, in the industry. And to all the audience worldwide, as you told, I was not aware that it will be a kind of global appearance today. So otherwise, I would have gone to some de-tanning sort of thing. So I get back to it. But nevertheless, it's a privilege for me to be here today. And though I'll be talking more of mice with Indian perspective, but to all the audience who are joining from world over, one thing about tourism I would like to mention in the backdrop of the pandemic which we all faced, and we can always say we are still not out of it totally, that though we were the first one to got affected by the pandemic, and as Dr. Kushan rightly said, that we will be the last one to come out of it. But the best part is that most of the professionals who are associated with this tourism industry with passion, I'll say, they are very resilient. Our industry is very resilient. Though everyone tried moving left and right and all those things, but most of them, for them, tourism is now in their DNA. So they can't move away from it at any cost. The only thing is it is just taking some time before they are, you can say, back with a bang sort of thing, but they are very much into tourism. So that's why I call tourism industry is very passionate and very resilient. It has faced the pandemic and it is ready to face on any other future challenges which nature may bring to us. Because at the end of the tourism is a kind of life in itself. Tourism gets you connected with your own ones, and for the people you don't know, even if you're visiting any country or any destination which is not your native place or native country, you still get connected with the local diaspora. But whatever you see in that country, you feel the local cuisine you eat, local people you meet. By natural, that the philosophy, by the Indian mythology and the philosophy, that whole world is one. So even if it is you are moving from West Coast or North America to the Eastern countries or maybe the Asia Pacific, that human connect, that vital connect, only tourism makes you understand and get connected to that connect. No other industries. You might be doing business and all digitally connected and all, but unless until you physically move to those places, that human touch, human connect, you can't feel. So that makes tourism industry very important as far as I'll say humanity is concerned, human relations are concerned globally, not only within the country. Even in the country, if you are moving from say north of India to the southern part of the India, even then you have the same feeling. Wherever you are moving, you are meeting more people, and that is possible only because of tourism. If you are going for a business, then it is basically a transaction. So whenever transactions are there, at times you don't feel like it because your focus is only restricted to that particular transaction. You have to finish up a meeting, you have to finish up a task, or maybe any other agenda, or you're going there to deliver some activity, whatever it is. So tourism is where you are at times at leisure to explore things around you. and you can feel it because you are at ease to explore those things. So that is the strong message which I want to convey to everyone who might be disheartened that we are still not out of pandemic. We will definitely be soon out of it, maybe today or tomorrow, or maybe few months down the line, but we are very much there. Industry is robust, resilient, and tourism is back. We can see, though infrastructure is still taking time to come to 100% pre-pandemic levels, but we are on the right track worldwide. I'll not say only India, worldwide, we are moving in the right direction.
Wonderful.
And as far as we now talk about the MICE perspective, we consider, though I've got a retail agency, I've been into business for almost 26, 27 years now. Now, MICE is driver of leisure travel. This is what we believe. MICE, when it consists of movements, so 50 delegates going on a MICE visit to any particular region, they are actually potential 50 families visiting that region subsequently for leisure travel. So that's why we feel, and in fact, everyone feels that MICE is important, not because that immediate volume what they get with the MICE movement. It is the subsequent reach, subsequent drive of tourism which this MICE movement actually results into. So that is one of the reasons why MICE is a most sought word in all those who are designing policies, strategies for any region, any state, any nation to develop the tourism part. Again, it is unfortunate up to some level. Dr. Bhushan had been associated with tourism ministry, let's say, but we as an association who represents, we are representing MICE operators pan India. At times we feel that justice was not done to the MICE operators or MICE industry as such by the respective state tourism boards and even our Ministry of Tourism. Now we are getting that MICE policy, the MICE promotion policy. MOT is now considering, they have prepared a draft, they have released some issues as well. But imagine how late we are into getting a policy drafted. Tourism policy we had, of course, our Honorable Minister announced yesterday that they are coming up with a new tourism policy, but that they are talking of tourism. MICE is a very important vertical within the tourism thing. So though we call it as tourism is very important because ultimately MICE comes out of tourism, but unless until we have a very specialist approach and definite strategies made to promote MICE, it requires a different mindset and different infrastructure support also is needed by government and other private stakeholders and all. So that philosophy is much needed. The sooner we do it, better it is for our country to be a popular MICE destination within the region and globally. We are lagging behind, and I'll not be able to share those numbers. In fact, I don't have those numbers handy, but those numbers are not respectable enough when we compare MICE movement in the country, comparing to some other smaller countries within the region, and of course some developed countries outside the other part of the world. So a lot has to be done as far as MICE is concerned. The other thing which I would like to convey to stakeholders in the tourism business who are into business of providing tourism services, whether they are into leisure segment, luxury segment, or whatever, I strongly suggest them that they should start, if they are not already into it, they should start looking at MICE as an important, and it's a good revenue earner as well. It is a good revenue earner as well, because here leisure movement, an individual traveler or family can still look out for online solutions or online delivery of services where they can, what I call it as DIY concept, that they do it on their own. They pick up things, pick up the dots and create their travel tourism program and all. MICE movement at every stage of any event, whether it's incentive travel, any small event, maybe conferences, trade fair, they need hand holding. And that hand holding is the key why MICE operator, MICE consultant, meeting planners or event planners, they are in need, and they will always remain in business, because an individual client can't handle all the aspects of MICE activity alone. And there is no such platform online which he can conveniently log in today's digital world and get his things sorted out. So that is the biggest asset for any tourism stakeholder today, any tourism service provider today, where he can count on the experience of his organization, his team, and deliver a successful MICE program. It is good revenue earner, as I told you, because there is no competition as such. Competition could be in a standalone program where a gentleman is looking for an hotel or maybe air travel or something like that. But when you club it and create an event, it is extremely difficult. In fact, I'll rather say it is impossible for an individual to create that kind of event or that kind of movement. So many logistical challenges. Hand-holding is must. So it gives you a very lucrative opening and revenue vertical to gain out of competition. So that is a very, very positive sign in my business, what we call as. Everyone can't handle mice movements with a kind of improper knowledge. So as an association, I like to add on this and emphasize that as an association, we realize that education, as in fact the feast program itself says that education is the key. Similarly, for mice thing, NEMA took the lead. Though we are one of the youngest association in the industry, we took that lead and we conducted few training programs for the industry where we actually apprised our members and even the other travel agents, tourism organizations, that how they can leverage their experience and knowledge to be a successful MICE operator, how they can successfully deliver those programs, and in that process they are able to get a decent revenue as well. Everyone talks when we meet our members and the other industry, everyone is complaining like, oh, that the margins are squeezing. We are getting competition from online operators, online platforms where people, but some of them, I'll not say now they have realized, but some of them are not ready to upgrade themselves. We need to evolve. That is a strong message which everyone, we need to evolve the way we are working today. Post-pandemic, it is more essential that we collaborate more. Earlier, we were looking at our own organization, so we're trying to do everything on our own. Post-pandemic, I think it has taught us that we should collaborate more. That will ease out the stress. That will deliver better results, because then you'll not be hiring. See, hiring your own team, it is a kind of capital expense. It is a capital recurring expense. When you collaborate, it makes easier for every organization to derive best out of each other. And that is the core philosophy. I'm really proud of that philosophy when we started NEMA, and our leaders, when our earlier leaders, when this NEMA came into existing, the core what we have kept for NEMA, and the philosophy is that one network member is putting some value into the network, which other member is able to derive out of it. So that is the key area, and that is where free flow of information, knowledge, resources keeps on flowing, so that each and every member gets benefit. And that is the biggest USP, and that is perhaps the reason why members appreciate our efforts. So we are very clear that education is the first thing. The other thing is our approach, that we need to evolve ourselves. We need to update ourselves with the local phenomenal things which are happening. We have to adapt using new technologies so that our service delivery is better. That is the core of conducting any business. But for MICE, it is more relevant because at times we are dependent on technology as well to deliver during complex situations. Imagine 1,000 people coming or gathering for an event, and you had planned a gala dinner outdoors or something, and maybe some dust storm or maybe some rain or something comes in. So at times it becomes very critical. So meeting planning, event planning is a crucial task, and you have to keep those B plans ready. It is very difficult when it is a big movement and all. So thorough knowledge of the product, thorough knowledge of your subject, that is more important. This is what we keep on focusing to our members. The other thing which we are telling these days to all our members and other industry stakeholders, don't rush. Don't rush. Let the things takes its own time. Rush will only lead to, let's say, chaotic conditions where things become out of control, and you, at the end of the day, you feel frustrated. So we want them to take their time, decide, think, collaborate, discuss. We are open for any industry stakeholder to reach out to us if they are finding any difficulty for mice movements and all. My post-COVID, we have got some other verticals within mice as well, like trade fairs, pure trade fairs, though it was essentially a part of mice from earlier days as well. But members were not very keen to enter into trade fair market, whereas trade fair organizers, all big organizers, whether in Germany or maybe Singapore, Taiwan, whatever country are focusing, even the Indian government is also thinking to bring on that policy. These trade fairs organizers gives you lot of incentives to bring delegates to their shows. Everyone is looking for quality. So to handle those groups, besides conducting their movement, travel arrangements and all, it is hefty incentives which you get from organizers of these trade fairs. So that some of our members have shifted. In fact, they have added trade fairs into their active product portfolio that is gaining momentum. So that is the changing trend as we were discussing with Dr. Bush. This is something new within the mice segment. Earlier, only very few people were focusing on trade fairs, but now most of them are also looking at trade fairs as an important mice activity where they can make decent margins and all. So these are, I'll say, the governing factors which would be leading to how mice movement starts and develops and proceed from here onwards. Government of India, we had been asking every time, we had been requesting all state tourism boards, sir, and you'll be surprised to know that even most of the state tourism bodies, as of now, don't have a dedicated officer, consultant, advisor in their offices who is solely responsible for mice activities. It is a general tourism secretaries, senior officers who are looking at all aspects of it. But mice being a specialist vertical, we expect and request all tourism bodies, all state tourism boards, and even MOT that we should be dedicating a specific staff, specific team within their infrastructure who should be catering for the mice requirement, because you will agree that mice requirements are also very specific. Mice movements are very demanding, and it is not a kind of leisure group movement or leisure activity where leisure events are also demanding, but mice, as corporates are involved, timeline has to be maintained. We need specific approach. Incentives policy we need. That is the message I would like to convey through you to all responsible people in the government, that we should incentivize all overseas operators who bring their mice movement to the country. And that should start from a lower level. Like any operator bringing incentive level of 50 plus people should be eligible to get even as small as possible incentive, because these incentives matters. That's why they are called incentives. See, when we say incentive travel or incentives, those incentives are given to increase the performance. So that is what we are looking for, which government has neglected for long. Now we believe that they are working, and I hope they are working some constructive strategies at Dharamshala currently, and they are it doesn't become a kind of only a 2-day affair. We are hoping that some good results will come out of that meeting which they are conducting these 2 days. It is very beautiful industry. I know I'm running short of time as such, but I believe it is very, very, very beautiful industry where you see the beauty of the world and where you see the beauty of the people you meet. So when you move out of your home, everything is beautiful. The only thing is you should be opening up your minds. You should be moving out. And as you mentioned about our Prime Minister's vision that one person should be visiting at least 15 new places, that was for all Indians staying in India. And the other message which he conveyed in one of the overseas forum, where he requested each and every foreigner to bring
five tourists
to India. So that vision is good, but at the same time, we need that to develop that infrastructure fast, actually, because we can't be, you can say, lethargic in implementing those things. See, everyone is competing. All tourism stakeholders worldwide are struggling to get more and more foreigners into their country. So we need to take the lead. Besides taking leads in all other aspects, you were good enough to supply vaccines to whole of the world where you could do. But at the same time, we have to take lead in promoting and pitching India as well. And the other important thing which we discussed prior to going on live, I'd like to convey this message to all those who are listening and all those who can contribute. When we are outside India, we should be talking of India first and respective states subsequently. This is as an association also we keep on saying whenever we are outside the country, we should not say, okay, we are Kerala, we are Gujarat, we are Punjab, or we are this. We agree that in India, tourism is a state subject. But when we are promoting tourism and when we are promoting brand India, then we should, even if we are doing it independently, we should do it collectively and we should be present as a collective India outside. Normally, what we have seen in most of the trade fairs and some of the people who had been visiting these trade fairs, the global trade fairs, what I say, we have a representation of MOT and then we have a representation of various states independently. So this should stop. They should stop. I think there should be only one representation. Maybe MOT gets you a whole of the hall itself, or maybe a larger exhibition area, and then all states should be within that MOT area. That is my personal take, and that is the viewpoint of our association as well. That whenever we are moving out, we should move together. That is one message that I'd like to convey to it. And I believe I've shared my viewpoint, but it can go up to any time because, as I told you, I'm passionate about this.
Very interesting.
Keeping the time constraint in mind, I think
very interesting. Very interesting. You would be so happy to know, Bhagatji, that 964 people are watching you from the world over. This particular program, this live which is going on in almost 131 countries. And something very interesting, we were talking initially and you made a mention of that. Honorable Prime Minister on the domestic front, he mentioned 15 places. And as far as the outside, our pravasi, our diaspora is concerned, अपने neighbor को लाइए, दोस्तों को लाइए, friends को लाइए, colleagues को लाइए, जितने maximum लोगों को लेके आ सकते हैं, हर एक प्रवासी कम से कम 5 लोगों को अपने साथ भारत में लेकर आए. And your suggestion, particularly when we are going for ITB Berlin, when we are going for World Travel Mart, or when we are going for other events, let the whole country participate as one entity instead of getting into separate segments that this state is here, this state is there, that state is there. I think that's a very valuable suggestion. मैं 2-3 चीजें आपसे और बात करना चाहूंगा जो मेरे मन में है. एक wedding tourism is coming in a very big way. That is also an event. Trade fair की आपने बातचीत की. पहले प्रगति मैदान ट्रेड फेयर अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया होता था, रेनोवेशन और उसकी भी रीपैकेजिंग और सारी चीजें अच्छे से चल रही है. उसकी वजह से नोएडा एक्सपो एरिया काफी पॉपुलर हो गया. And we have been organizing lots of events over there as well. Now, wedding tourism that we talk about, this is one very important component. People are going overseas, outside India, taking a chartered flight and spending a lot of money and holding weddings abroad or different places. At the same time, there are lots of people, those who have gone abroad and they are settled abroad, but they want to marry in India. They want to take Indian girl. If the girl is out, she needs a boy from here. और बहुत सारी wedding India में भी हो रही हैं. वेडिंग टूरिज्म को भी अगर हम थोड़ा फोकस करें और उसी के साथ साथ lot of people from the Bollywood, from the Bollywood, from the Tollywood, they go abroad and they're shooting, they get some incentives, they get some perks, they get some privileges from the respective provinces or states or countries. Why not your forum can also pitch in that अगर फिल्मों की shooting tourism के promotion के लिए भारत में हो, I think that would be wonderful. And by the time I'm sharing that with you, the audience has turned into 1.1K. That is almost 1100 people are watching now, maybe because of film tourism or wedding tourism or whatever is there. Let's throw some light on that.
Sir, wedding, I'll tell in perspective of our organization, when we had our charter designed and written, we kept wedding as an independent vertical. because wedding, though it's considered as an event only, but normally it's a kind of individual or leisure event. So we are not putting it under my, but at the same time, you rightly said, the wedding tourism is growing at a much bigger space, much bigger rate. And the other challenge, you rightly mentioned that most of the Indians are moving out for destination wedding, whereas people and NRIs who are diaspora globally, they intend to come back to India to get these kind of that. See, there are two challenges, but we see as an operator. In India, as I mentioned, we need to work very quickly to set the infrastructure right. That is one thing. The other thing is ki when in India we talk of tourism, whether it is wedding tourism, medical tourism, or MICE tourism, or whatever it is, we are of the opinion that unless until the whole ecosystem improves, by whole ecosystem I see transport. I am bringing 500 people and suppose I want to take them to Shillong for getting my wedding done. Few good hotels, I'm just quoting, like a very decent resort in an exotic location is there. But unfortunately, in that city, we don't have luxury coaches to take my guests to that resort. If I'm planning something big, now that becomes a bottleneck. So that is what I'm saying is we have got everything. So India has got everything. Why we are calling Incredible India? Because at every part of the country, we do have some exotic locations, some historical important heritage Havelis and all those things which people are now using for certain palaces converted into hotels and all. So everything is there what a customer can think of. The only thing is we are not able to connect the dots correctly. Landing up at an airport in Delhi, then driving 4 hours, 5 hours for a wedding in Jaipur, again becomes a challenge. So for this, we should be able to promote this thing. Okay, if any European guests want to do a wedding in Jaipur or Udaipur, we'll make that charter travel easy. Or maybe for this group, we can create so that we should think, as I mentioned about the country, when we go out, we should be talking of the country. Similarly, when we talk of any tourism activity, we should be looking at the whole perspective of it. Why people are going outside? I'll just quote you a very recent and classic example, post-COVID. 2019, pre-COVID, suppose it was 10,000 rupees a night for a 5-star hotel for a wedding movement and all. At the same time, we were getting a similar kind of hotel, maybe in, say, Southeast Asia, some country, for $200. Today, post-pandemic, hotels in India are charging 25,000 rupees a room night, whereas the other region, those Southeast Asian, are competitors in that, they are still charging you $200 or maybe $225 or $210. So hotels should also realize, from our childhood, we had been reading those those stories. कि वो मुर्गी का अंडा है, वो मुर्गी लेनी है या अंडा लेना है. तो ये hotel should also see, hotels and everyone should realize कि आज wedding मजबूरी है, लोगों को wedding कर रहे हैं, तो that doesn't mean कि अब सब कुछ हम इसी से कर लेंगे. तो we should be considerate. ठीक है, आपके overhead ज्यादा है, आपके सब कुछ ज्यादा है, तो try to improve upon your efficiency and all those things. अपना ARR बढ़ाने के चक्कर में, तो अब मेरे को अगर बाहर $200 का कमरा 210 हुआ है, 20 हुआ है, 25 हुआ है, तो आप मेरे से 10 की जगह 25 मांग रहे हैं, तो अगर मैं पैसे वाला हूं और आई एम इन्फ्लुएंशियल एनफ, आई विल प्रेफर गोइंग टू अदर कंट्री. So that is one of the reasons. So we have to open up. That is what I'm saying. We have to consider, and that will not, if any foreign wedding comes to India, that will not increase revenue of only that hotel. If you can imagine anyone going to for a wedding in Jaipur, they'll be spending millions of rupees for shopping in Jaipur market. So that is indirectly adding up to the economy of the state and ultimately the country. So a wedding is growing like anything, and you are rightly saying, but our celebrities, they prefer Italy over doing a wedding in India, and a Hollywood actor is performing their wedding in Udaipur. So we are lacking something, and this is where we say that patriotism is more important than doing any other claims.
Excellent. Very well taken. Such a wonderful inputs and valuable inputs from your side, Jagdeep Bhagatji. And We wish Nima a grand success, great success. We look forward to meeting you somewhere in India in the month of March 2023. Our chamber
We
would be more than happy to support you in whatsoever venture we can.
I'll take the liberty to invite all the audience whosoever is there online.
Wow,
So
wow.
they are most welcome. Whenever we open registration for the event, we'll definitely share it. And
Great.
I can only assure you ki if you become part of that forum, that the time and money which you will invest to be part of it, you will not regret this. This much I can assure you. You can take our words on that.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Sir.
With that, the participation has gone to 1.2K from the world over. We are extremely happy, delighted. And from the chamber side and my colleagues and all of us, our deepest gratitudes and thanks to Jagdeep Bhagatji, who had come today from Nima side network of Indian mice agents. And of course, my thanks to Subhash Vermaji also, who introduced and who connected us. I'm grateful to him also. कहते हैं कभी किसी का देन भूलना नहीं चाहिए. So I'm grateful to everybody.
Subhash Verma ji has been my mentor as well. So he is senior in the trade, and I regard him like
thank you.
Brother. Yeah,
thank you. So ladies and gentlemen,
sir. Thanks all audience. Thanks very much for bearing with me. I hope I have not bothered you a lot.
No, it was wonderful. It was wonderful insight. So with that mice fragrance, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your day. Those are in Canada, those are in America, and those are in Latin America. You have got a day ahead. And people, those are going for their evening siesta now, because after lunch, you have to go for coffee and tea in Europe. And of course, my beautiful Indians, you should have haldi wala milk so that your health remains and your immune system remains well. And we all join in month of March 2023, Jagdeep Bhagatji, wherever he is organizing next forum get together